So Ariana Patiño and her sister, they had been driving for, I think it was like 7 straight hours from Utah.
Oh, man. That is a long drive.
Yeah, right. And it's August 2026, as a birthday trip to Las Vegas, and they are just completely exhausted. So they're creeping up and down Tropicana Avenue, squinting out the windshield,
Yeah.
and they're looking for this palm line driveway and the sleek modern signage of this boutique property that they booked. It was called Palette Las Vegas.
Right. Palette.
Yeah, and they booked it on Booking.com, and the photos. I mean, the photos show this pristine upper mid-scale experience, right? Just gorgeous.
Yeah. Really, really high-end looking stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But after like an hour of circling the block, the only thing at the address they were given is this massive kind of decaying property that they had actually explicitly sworn to avoid.
Oh, no. Let me guess.
The OYO Hotel and Casino.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Which, if we look at the investigative reports we're diving into today, the Oreo was ranked, I think it was 240th out of 260 Las Vegas hotels on TripAdvisor at the time.
It's just brutal.
Yeah, carrying a 1.7-star rating on Yelp. It was, locally notorious for, like, broken elevators, air conditioning failures in the middle of summer.
In Vegas.
Right, in Vegas. And, unlit stairwells, just really rough.
So out of sheer desperation, right, they pull into the OYO parking lot, they walk up to the front desk, and they just ask, like, hey, does anyone know where Palette is?
Oh, this is the crazy part.
It is. The receptionist looks at their reservation and just casually tells them they're already there.
Yep.
Like, Palette doesn't exist. It's just a digital testing identity for the OYO.
Mm.
And the staff, they framed it as this, like, corporate marketing traction test.
Yeah.
To see which brand name and aesthetic perform better online.
Right, like it's just some innocent A/B testing. But it is the absolute definition of a structural failure in the trust architecture of online platforms.
Yeah.
The digital representation that they booked was completely severed from the physical reality of the building.
It's wild. Well, welcome to another deep dive. Today we are exploring this surreal, almost sci-fi intersection of artificial intelligence, digital consumer trust, and the hospitality industry.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
It really is. We're looking at a landscape where the building you booked, it might literally be an algorithmic mirage. And to get to the bottom of this August 2026 Las Vegas AI scandal, we have an incredibly dense stack of sources today.
We do. We're pulling from, we've got investigative travel articles by the Jet Setter Guide and Casino.org, alongside this really rigorous academic case study. It's titled Algorithmic Deception in Modern Travel Distribution.
Sounds heavy.
It is, but it's fascinating. And we're also examining internal policy documents from tech giants, Expedia, Booking.com, and we're going to navigate the heavy regulatory frameworks rolling out from both the Federal Trade Commission and the Nevada State Legislature.
Right. So the mission of this deep dive, essentially, is to uncover the mechanics of how AI is fundamentally fracturing online marketplaces.
Exactly. We're looking at how this whole concept of ghost hospitality, how it actually operates in the wild. What platform vulnerabilities make it possible and what consumers and regulators are doing to fight back.
So, okay, we have to start with the mechanics of the deception itself, because the first thing that jumps out to me is the address.
Oh, yeah. The address exploit.
Right. Like if I go to list a spare room on a travel site and someone else is already renting out the entire house at that exact address, the system flags it.
Immediately.
So I just don't understand how a fully operational Vegas casino successfully masqueraded as a completely different hotel without, the platform's duplicate detection algorithms just shutting it down immediately.
Well, that brings us to the first technique the hotel operators utilize, which the academic paper calls geographic coordinate manipulation.
Okay.
They exploited a really fundamental gap in how online travel agencies, OTAs, how they actually structure their databases.
How so?
So the physical OYO Hotel and Casino is registered at 115 East Tropicana Avenue. Now, the automated deduplication algorithms on these platforms, they are designed to merge listings that share identical address strings.
Right, like at the text matches, exactly.
Exactly. So to bypass the system, they created a digital overlay. They listed the fake Palette Las Vegas at 117 East Tropicana Avenue. And then they created a second fake brand, which they called Collection O, and listed that at 119 East Tropicana.
But wait, 117 and 119, they don't exist as separate buildings, right? Like if you're a human walking down the street, it's just one giant parking lot and one aging casino.
Right. But the platforms aren't humans. They rely heavily on text-based address fields rather than verified parcel boundaries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they aren't cross-referencing these submissions with municipal land registries. To the database, the text string 115 and the text string 117, those are completely distinct data points.
So they just effectively invented adjacent street addresses to slice a single physical property into multiple digital entities.
Yes. They slipped right past the deduplication filter using fake street numbers.
That's incredibly simple, actually. But, I mean, an address doesn't sell a hotel room.
No, the photos do.
Right. And the obvious move would be to just, steal photos of a nice hotel in Miami and pretend it's in Vegas. But I imagine reverse image searches would catch that in, like, seconds.
Oh, absolutely. Any modern platform would flag a stolen image instantly. So the operators, they had to create original visual assets of a building that literally did not exist.
Which is where the AI comes in.
Exactly. They used generative AI to alter real photos of the OYO.
Wow.
Yeah. So they took the actual geometry of the physical building and they digitally erased the massive Hooters and OYO signs from the exterior.
As it used to be a Hooters casino, right?
Right. And then they synthesized the palette and collection O branding seamlessly onto the facade. And for the interiors, they used AI to replace the aging carpets, they upgraded the wall coverings, and they adjusted all the lighting to suggest this, pristine boutique experience.
I have to push back here, though, just a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Because hotels have been using, like, wide-angle lenses in heavy Photoshop for decades, right?
Sure.
Like, making tiny closets look like luxury suites or making the pool water look impossibly blue. So is using Midjourney or whatever AI image generator they use, is that really a new legal line in the sand? Or is it just the next logical evolution of standard deceptive marketing?
That's a great question, but the legal line in the sand is drawn between cosmetic enhancement and synthetic representation.
Okay, unpack that.
So when you use a wide-angle lens, you are still capturing the physical reality of the room, You're merely manipulating the perspective. And when you use Photoshop to brighten a photo, you're adjusting existing light. But generative AI hallucinates reality.
It makes it up from scratch.
Exactly. It doesn't enhance what's there.
Right.
It invents architectural features, furniture, amenities that have never actually occupied physical space.
Oh, I see. So it's like the difference between putting makeup on a real person
Yeah.
and generating an entirely synthetic human.
That is a perfect analogy. Yes.
And the sources point out that we know they use generative AI because of the specific synthetic anomalies like the digital artifacts that were left behind in the images.
Right. The mistakes.
Yeah, the AI made these hilarious, weird mistakes that you only catch if you're really looking closely. Like in the background of one of the exterior shots, there was a real Steak and Shake restaurant sign.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that picture.
And generative AI models, they famously struggle with rendering coherent text, right? So the letters on this Steak and Shake sign were visibly warped. They were like melting into each other and totally illegible.
Yeah. And the interior mock-ups were even more revealing. The AI inserted visual anomalies that the academic case study highlights as, the hallmarks of synthetic generation.
Right.
Reviewers and internet sleuths who kind of dissected the photos later, they described these distorted geometric shapes on the bedroom walls, structural columns that just sort of faded into nothing at the ceiling, and these bizarre, misaligned, decorative objects on the tables that people started calling uncanny candles.
Uncanny candles. I love that. But, I mean, it sounds amusing until you are the one standing in the lobby.
Exactly.
Because once Ariana and her sister realized they had been bait and switched, Ariana went to the front desk and she demanded to cancel the reservation.
As anyone would.
Right, because this wasn't the hotel she booked. The amenities in the AI photos didn't exist. There were no uncanny candles.
No. And this is where the algorithmic deception translates into immediate, real-world financial extortion.
Yeah, the OYO staff, they basically told her that if she refused to check in, she would forfeit her entire booking fee.
Which is already bad enough.
Right, but plus, they said they would hit her with an additional $200 late cancellation surcharge.
It's just so aggressive.
So she's staring down the barrel of losing hundreds of dollars, stranded in Vegas after a grueling drive. And the threat worked. They essentially forced the sisters to check into this deteriorating property, and they ended up paying over $450 for a stay they had actively tried to avoid.
Which forces a much larger examination of the corporate motive here.
Yeah, why do it?
Right. Risking a highly publicized bait-and-switch scheme, especially for a property regulated by the Nevada Gaming Control Board, it seems completely irrational for an operational casino.
Yeah, you wouldn't risk your gaming license for a few extra hotel bookings.
Exactly. So to understand why they'd take that risk, we have to look at the financial ticking clock the parent company was facing in August 2026.
Right, the IPO.
Yes. Oreo's parent company, Oroville Stays Ltd., they were in the middle of this massive global pivot. In late 2025, they rebranded globally to the name PRISM to unify their international portfolio of budget hotels, premium boutiques, co-working spaces.
And this rebranding was basically the final runway preparation for a massive $696 million initial public offering.
Yeah. An IPO of nearly $700 million, which was approved by the Securities and Exchange Board of India SEBI, it creates intense, crushing pressure on corporate executives.
I can only imagine.
They have to show rapid revenue growth, and more importantly, they have to optimize or completely offload chronically underperforming assets.
And the Las Vegas property was definitely underperforming.
Oh, massively. Burdened by years of one-star reviews detailing broken infrastructure, it was a massive liability dragging down the PRISM portfolio right before they went public.
So they engage in what the industry analysts in our sources call reputation arbitrage.
Right.
It totally mirrors the ghost kitchen trend we see in food delivery apps.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what it is.
Like, you have a restaurant with endless health code violations, terrible food, a terrible rating, and instead of, cleaning the kitchen and improving the food, they just create a new digital storefront on the delivery app called Fresh Eats or whatever to get a clean slate of reviews.
Exactly. The physical kitchen is the exact same, but the digital identity is completely scrubbed.
So analysts are now calling this Vegas incident the birth of ghost hospitality.
Ghost hospitality, yeah. They created Palette to establish a clean review sheet, completely unburdened by years of negative consumer feedback about the physical OYO property. And that allowed them to charge premium room rates for the exact same physical inventory.
Wow.
And the economic implications of this are just staggering when you look at the traditional model of running a hotel.
How so?
Well, historically, if a hotel wants to charge higher average daily rates, they have to spend capital expenditure, or capex.
Right, renovations.
Yes. They physically renovate the rooms, they repair the elevators, upgrade the plumbing, they invest capital to improve the physical asset, which then earns better reviews, which justifies the higher price.
But under PRISM's strategy, they deployed a concept the academic study brilliantly terms synthetic capex.
I love that term.
It's so good. Instead of spending millions of dollars on drywall, plumbing, and actual maintenance, they spent pennies on API calls to an AI image generator.
Just pennies.
Yeah. They created the digital illusion of a premium product, and in doing so, they shifted the cost of the asset's degradation entirely onto the consumer.
Yes. The consumer pays the premium price for the illusion, but physically absorbs the substandard, deteriorating experience.
This is wild.
They are monetizing the hallucination. The asset continues to decay in the real world, but the digital twin projects infinite, pristine luxury.
So this brings up a huge question for me. The term API trust loophole comes up heavily in the sources when explaining how global tech giants like Booking.com and Expedia allowed these fake listings on their sites in the first place.
Right.
I mean, these are billion-dollar tech companies with massive security teams. The concept sounds highly technical, but fundamentally, it's just a prioritization problem for these platforms, isn't it?
It is. It's entirely about speed to market. Major online travel agencies, they optimize for ingesting as much inventory as possible, as fast as possible, because inventory drives commission revenue.
Right. More rooms equals more money.
Exactly. So for major corporate partners like PRISM, who manage thousands of properties globally, the platforms provide an automated programmatic interface, a photo API.
Right, so it's like a sealed shipping container at a global port.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, like the platform's automated defenses are geared towards stopping individual fraudsters, the digital equivalent of checking someone's carry-on bag at airport security.
Right, right.
But when PRISM sends a massive data shipment of new property listings, the platform security only checks the shipping manifest. They see PRISM as a verified, trusted sender, so they don't actually open the container to scan the individual photos for AI artifacts or, cross-reference the coordinates.
Because doing so would slow down the global supply chain of digital inventory.
Exactly.
Yeah, the algorithms granted them a free pass based purely on corporate pedigree. And this exposes a glaring contradiction when you look at Expedia's internal rulebook.
Yeah, their policies.
Their partner-provided content policy is remarkably strict on paper. It explicitly bans the use of generative AI to mislead, misrepresent, or misconstrue the premises to drive bookings.
Okay, so it's in writing.
Oh, yeah. It bans quoting material from other sites, unapproved URLs, and strictly bans incentivized reviews that aren't clearly labeled.
They have the airtight policy written down. But when the scandal broke and a TikTok documenting the Vegas bait and switch went viral, Expedia didn't aggressively enforce their policy to protect consumers.
No, they didn't.
According to the internal timelines we have, instead of immediately deleting the pallet listing and issuing refunds, Expedia simply marked the listing as sold out.
Which is a profound systemic failure. Marking it sold out leaves the inaccurate, deceptive content visible to the public. It validates the existence of the phantom hotel.
Right. People see it and think, oh, it's just fully booked.
Exactly. The platforms lack the automated tools to flag synthetic imagery at the ingestion phase, which makes them entirely reliant on viral consumer complaints or severe manual escalation to enforce their own rules.
They wait for us to do the work.
Pretty much. They are hesitant to sever a lucrative corporate partner's listing without an agonizingly slow internal review process.
It's a completely reactive posture. I mean, the only reason the scam finally started falling apart wasn't because of Expedia's sophisticated algorithms. It was because of one angry guest named Ron R.
Good old Ron.
Yeah, Ron left a scathing 2 out of 10 star review on Expedia, explicitly exposing the operation. He wrote that there was no signage for pallet, the elevators were completely out of service, and he had to navigate dark, unsafe stairwells just to get to his room.
And then the corporate operators provided regulators with a smoking gun.
They replied to him.
Yes. The official pallet account formally replied to Ron R. on the platform, apologizing for the broken elevators and the lack of signage.
By formally replying, they legally cemented the connection in writing on a public server.
Yep.
They admitted that the physical conditions of the decaying OYO were the conditions of the pristine pallet.
It was a massive mistake on their part. And with the platform defenses failing this miserably to stop the scam, regulatory bodies at both the state and federal levels aggressively stepped in.
Yeah, let's talk about the legal side, because looking at the state level first, this specific type of algorithmic deception triggers the Nevada Revised Statutes, Chapter 598.
Right, the Nevada Deceptive Trade Practices Act.
Under this law, misrepresenting the standard, quality, or grade of services is strictly illegal. Passing off goods or services as those of another is a direct violation.
And doing this in Las Vegas was a massive miscalculation.
Oh, for sure. The civil fines can reach up to $10,000 per individual violation.
Wow.
But it gets worse. If managing agents or corporate officers knowingly and willfully engage in these deceptive practices repeatedly, the third offense escalates to a Category D felony in Nevada.
You are risking actual prison time for AI-generated carpets. And the jurisdiction of the Nevada Gaming Control Board compounds that risk exponentially. Because OYO operates a casino floor, they are beholden to an agency that demands strict suitability and ethical conduct from its license holders.
Right.
Jeopardizing a highly lucrative gaming license over a marginal increase in hotel bookings using synthetic media, I mean, that is just corporate malpractice.
It really is.
Yeah.
But the national implications are even broader, right? The Federal Trade Commission rolled out an initiative in 2026 called Operation AI Comply.
Yes.
And this serves as a sort of regulatory dragnet for businesses using artificial intelligence to automate misrepresentations. The cornerstone of this initiative is the new double disclosure rule.
Right. So historically, single disclosure was the standard.
Right, like #ad.
Exactly. If a brand paid an influencer to promote a product, the FTC required a disclosure of the sponsorship. But under the 2026 rules, if a brand uses AI to substantially generate or modify commercial content, they must disclose both the sponsorship and the AI involvement.
So you need #ad and a label explicitly stating AI-assisted content or created with AI.
Yes. The FTC is treating the use of AI to alter physical outcomes in advertisements as an unsubstantiated claim.
And the fines are wild. If you fail to double disclose and it influences a consumer's purchasing decision, the fines are currently set at $53,088 per individual violation.
Over 50 grand per listing. That adds up fast.
Really fast. Now, the guidelines are careful to define substantially generated, right?
Yeah, they are. Basic tools like Grammarly, spell checkers, or, standard scheduling software, those do not trigger the disclosure requirement.
Okay, that makes sense.
However, using Midjourney to generate an image of a hotel pool that does not physically exist, or using ChatGPT to rewrite a listing to fundamentally change the meaning or tone of the amenities.
That absolutely requires an AI disclosure.
100%.
And this regulatory shift, it goes far beyond just false advertising. The sources highlight the Take It Down Act, or TD.
Right, TD.
This shows a massive holistic change in how the government views the responsibility of digital platforms regarding synthetic content. Basically, the legal shield for platforms is dying across all sectors.
It really is. Because if you think about it, the exact same API architecture that allows a fake hotel to steal $450.
Yeah.
It's the same architecture that allows malicious actors to distribute non-consensual intimate deepfakes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, of course.
TID forces platforms to remove non-consensual intimate images, specifically including AI-generated digital forgeries, within 48 hours of a victim's request.
And a 48-hour compliance window is incredibly tight for platforms handling millions of posts a day.
Very tight.
So the synthesis of these regulations, whether it's commercial harm under Operation AI Comply or a severe personal harm under TID, is that tech companies can no longer throw their hands up and claim they are just neutral hosts who don't control their users.
No, they can't. They're legally required to implement robust notice and removal architectures.
And the FTC is pushing for the adoption of technological safeguards to proactively stop the spread of synthetic media. They specifically recommend implementing cryptographic hashing.
Which is fascinating tech. For those unfamiliar with the underlying mechanism, a hash function basically takes an image's pixel data and it runs it through a mathematical algorithm to output a unique fixed-length string of text.
Like a digital fingerprint.
Exactly, a digital fingerprint. So even if a scammer changes the file name or tweaks a single pixel, the platform's API instantly recognizes the text string as banned content, and it blocks the upload automatically.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And they are also pushing the industry towards C2PA metadata, the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity.
Okay, how does that work?
It functions as a digital nutrition label that's permanently baked into the file of an image. It cryptographically records exactly how and when AI tools were used to alter it.
So you can't just strip it out easily.
Right. And platforms are now being forced to build the ingestion infrastructure to read and act on that metadata before the image ever reaches the public.
So the walls are definitely closing in on algorithmic deception from a regulatory standpoint.
They are.
But, lawsuits and platform overhauls, they take years. The immediate burden of verification, it still falls entirely on the traveler today.
Unfortunately, yes, it does.
Which is why I love this guide in our sources, published by JF Property Partners. It focuses on actionable advice for dealing with Booking.com complaints, particularly for our UK listeners who are navigating the post-Brexit landscape.
Yeah, that's a really specific but important point. UK consumers no longer have access to the European Consumer Center.
Right.
So they have to route cross-border disputes like dealing with Booking.com, which is headquartered in the Netherlands. They have to route those through the UK International Consumer Center or UK ICC.
And the guide points out that waiting for the UK ICC or the booking platform's sluggish internal refund process, that can take months.
Easily.
The sharpest tool in the consumer arsenal is actually financial leverage.
Yes, hit them where it hurts.
Under Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act in the UK, if you pay with a credit card for a purchase between £130,000 and £30,000, your card provider is jointly liable if the service is not delivered as promised.
That's huge.
Yeah, so initiating a Section 75 claim, or just a standard bank chargeback globally, it bypasses the platform's customer service labyrinth completely. The bank simply yanks the money back from the merchant.
Financial leverage is definitely the best recourse, but avoiding the scam in the first place, that requires a whole new verification toolkit for the modern traveler.
Right. We need to know how to spot the mirage before we book it.
Exactly. So, step 1, never trust the map provided inside the booking platform app.
Oh, really?
Yes. Always search the exact street address on an independent map service and examine the street-level imagery. Look at the physical signs on the building in Google Street View to verify they match the name of the hotel you're actually booking.
That makes total sense. Like if it says pallet, but the physical sign says OYO, run.
Run, exactly. Second step, check for overlapping coordinates. If you search an address and it resolves to a massive well-known hotel, but your listing is for a small boutique property at that exact same coordinate.
You're almost certainly looking at a digital overlay scam.
Right. The database has been tricked.
Okay, what else?
Third, and perhaps most importantly, Ignore the polished gallery images provided by the host.
Completely ignore them.
Completely. AI can generate a breathtaking lobby, but it cannot easily generate 100 consistent, poorly lit smartphone photos taken from different angles by real guests.
Ah, that's such a good point.
You have to rely exclusively on recent traveler uploads in the review section.
Yeah, I imagine looking at the main photos is practically useless if AI is this good now. We shouldn't even be looking for weird artifacts like the uncanny candles anymore. We should just jump straight to the user reviews.
Right. And the final step in the toolkit is to document everything. Screenshot the listing, screenshot the pristine AI photos, save your confirmation, and document all communications before you travel.
Because if you show up and the building doesn't exist, those screenshots are your primary evidence for the bank chargeback.
Exactly. If you don't have proof of the specific amenities promised, the hotel will simply claim you changed your mind and hit you with that $200 cancellation surcharge.
It's exhausting that consumers must act as digital forensic investigators simply to book a weekend trip.
It is exhausting, but it is the current cost of operating in a low-trust digital ecosystem.
So, pulling all these threads together, we're looking at a desperate hospitality company with a decaying physical asset. And to secure a $700 million IPO, they exploited automated API loopholes on platforms like Booking.com and Expedia, deploying synthetic CapEx.
Right.
They used AI-generated imagery to create a phantom hotel. And real travelers, like Ariana and her sister, were left stranded in a parking lot, physically absorbing the cost of corporate reputation arbitrage.
It is a perfect storm of technological capability outpacing platform responsibility. And looking beyond the immediate policies we've discussed, we are on a trajectory where generative AI is becoming entirely indistinguishable from reality. The visual anomalies will disappear. The AI will learn to spell steak and shake perfectly.
Yeah, the uncanny candles won't be uncanny for much longer. So when photographic evidence carries zero weight, how does a digital marketplace survive?
That is the existential question for these platforms. Will the hospitality industry be forced to adopt blockchain-style cryptographic proofs for every single room?
Oh, wow.
Will consumers demand live-streamed video verification like a host physically walking through the property on a live feed just to prove a hotel room actually exists before entering their credit card details?
That sounds intense.
It is. We may be entering a permanent era of zero-trust travel, where every digital representation is assumed to be a mirage until definitively proven otherwise. It fundamentally changes the joy of travel into a grueling exercise in risk management.
Zero trust travel. I mean, you don't trust the photos, you don't trust the reviews, you don't trust the address. You just have to hope the bricks are actually stacked up when you arrive.
Pretty much.
We want to hear from you on this one. Have you ever shown up to a hotel, a vacation rental, or even like an apartment viewing that looked absolutely nothing like the photos online? Did you find yourself in a phantom building?
Yeah, I'd love to hear those stories.
How did you handle it? Did you fight for a chargeback or did you just cut your losses? Let us know in the comment section below.
The community stories on these marketplace failures, they always highlight new angles we haven't even considered.
Oh, absolutely. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to keep unpacking the complexities of our digital world, please hit that like button and subscribe.
It really helps.
It does. Not only does it make sure you never miss a video, but it tells the YouTube algorithm that you value this kind of rigorous analytical content, which helps push it out to more curious learners just like you. We will see you on the next deep dive. And until then, remember, just because the hotel looks perfect online doesn't mean the building is actually there. Safe travels, everyone.